Are you ready to unlock growth, build resilience, and confidently take the next step in leadership, career, and faith? Welcome to The Next Move. I'm Orvin Kimbrough, a CEO, author, and leader with a passion for helping people and organizations thrive. My journey from foster care to CEO has fueled my mission to help professionals scale their confidence, leadership, and influence through mindset shifts, expanded networks, and bold action. Each week, I'll share reflections ripped straight from my blog to inspire and empower you with actionable insights. Let's get started and make your next move your best move. Welcome back to The Next Move, the podcast where we explore faith, leadership, and personal growth to help you take your next move with purpose and confidence. Now, let me let you in on something. In banking, I often remind people that there are three primary risks I wake up thinking about each and every day. These risks are core to financial services. They are, number one, credit risk, the risk that someone won't pay back what they owe. Number two, liquidity risk, the risk of not having enough cash available when needed. And number three, interest rate risk, the risk that change in interest rates will impact loans, deposits, and investments that are in our portfolio. But here's the thing. These aren't just risks for big banks. They aren't just risks for community banks. They're the same risk you and I face on Main Street. Let's take this for example, credit risk. That's whether you and I can borrow money affordably or lend it and get repaid. Liquidity risk. That's whether you or I have enough cash to cover an emergency or invest in an opportunity. Interest rate risk. That's how changes in interest rates affect our mortgage, affect our business loans or credit card payments. So today, we're breaking this down in a way that actually matters to you on Main Street. Because here's the truth. Whether you realize it or not, bonds are shaping your financial life right now. They affect your mortgage, your business loans, your credit card rates, and even your retirement savings. But let's be honest. Finance can feel like another language, and some folks want to keep it that way. I refuse, and so should you. If I can break this down in a way that makes sense to me, then I know, guess what? It'll make sense to you. So today we're talking about old bonds versus new bonds, the seesaw effect of bond prices and yields. And most importantly, why should you care? Because understanding this one simple concept can help you make better financial decisions. It can help you make better money moves. Let's get into it. So when I think about stocks versus bonds, I look at this as step one. These are two totally different worlds. Before we get into bonds, let's start with the basics. Think of stocks and bonds like two different worlds in investing. Stocks equal, as I told my son recently, ownership. You're buying a piece of a company. If the company does well, your stock value goes up, and we all want our stock value to go up. Bonds, on the other hand, equals debt. You're lending money to a company, to a government, or to an organization, and they promise to pay you back with interest. These are two totally different animals. And today we're just focusing on bonds because bonds affect everything from interest rates to your mortgage, business loans, and investment portfolio. Now that we have that first step, step two, there are two types of bonds, at least in the way that I'm talking about it today in the bond world. there are two big categories. Old bonds means existing debt. These are the ones already out there in your investment portfolio or on your company's books. New bonds, that is freshly issued debt. These are the ones being issued today at current market rates. Here's an example. Let's say you bought a bond that pays 4% interest last year, but today new bonds are being issued at 5%. If you wanted to sell your old bond, would anyone want it when they could buy a better one at 5%? Probably not, unless you're willing to sell it at a discount. And that's where the seesaw effect comes in. This takes us to step 3. And, I typically think about these things as the accidental banker and Orvin, just the regular community guy. So the accidental banker says, well, wait, so if new bonds pay more, my old bonds are worth less. Bingo. If new bonds offer higher interest rates, older bonds with lower rates become less desirable. So to attract buyers, the price of those older bonds drop. That is, if you are trying to sell those older bonds. Since yields is the return based on price, when bond prices fall, yields rise. That's why bond prices and yields move in opposite direction. Think of it like a seesaw. When new bonds offer higher rates, older bond prices drop. When new bonds offer lower rates, older bond prices rise. Did you catch that? Higher rates mean lower bond prices. Lower rates mean higher bond prices. Simple. That takes us to step 4, where I get into a real world example in a way that affects you and me. So let's say you bought a bond last year that pays 4% interest. So you've heard this before. If new bonds today are offering 5%, no one wants your old 4% bond unless you sell it at what? Yep, there's that word again, discount. If new bonds today are offering 3%, that means the old bond that we have at 4% becomes more valuable because it pays more than what's available. That's the seesaw effect. Bond prices and bond yields always move in the opposite direction. Now, why should you care? So, okay, but how does this actually affect you? This isn't just a Wall Street talk or a lesson. It trickles down into our everyday financial lives. Your mortgage and home buying plans. When yields rise, mortgage rates go up. Homes become more expensive. Your credit card and loan costs. When yields rise, credit card and auto loan rates go up. Borrowing becomes more expensive. Your business growth, when yields rise, business loans cost more. Harder for companies to expand when money is more expensive. Your retirement portfolio, if interest rates rise and you own old bonds, they could lose value. You might need to adjust your strategy. Talk to someone about it. This is why understanding the seesaw effect helps you stay ahead of the game. So here's my final takeaway. And the punchline is, know the seesaw, control your money. If you understand this relationship between bond prices and interest rates, you can make smarter financial moves. You can avoid some of the biggest risks that affect both banks and us on Main Street. Remember, the same risk I think about as a banker impacts you too. I think about credit risk. Higher interest rates means borrowing gets more expensive. So if you're planning to take on debt for a home, for a car, or a business, pay attention to where rates are headed. Liquidity risk. Do you have enough cash set aside that if rates rise and your payments increase, you can weather the storm. An emergency fund is key to avoiding financial stress and interest rate risk. If you have investments, mortgages, or loans, changing rates likely will affect what you owe and what you earn. Knowing the seesaw effect helps you make informed decisions. So here's the accidental banker speaking one more time. Okay, I think I finally got it. Or that this makes sense to you. Yeah, and now I know why everyone should be paying attention. So did this help you? Did this help make sense of yields and your financial future? If it did, share this episode with someone who needs a simple breakdown. And before you go, take a moment to check the interest rates on your mortgage, on your credit card, or your business loans, because knowing where rates stand today can help you make smarter financial decisions tomorrow. Until next time. Thank you for tuning in to The Next Move. I hope today's reflection inspired you to take the next step in your leadership, career, or faith journey. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need a little encouragement this week. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like more reflections or resources, visit orvinkimbrough.com or theaccidentalbanker.com. Until next time, remember, every step you take brings you closer to thriving. Let's keep moving forward together.